How's it going, guys? It's Ralphie from Beyond the Huddle, and welcome to this week's Bitcoin forecast. As always, we'll get started with the SMI. That's what you're seeing here in your screen, and that's the spot exchange sentiment analysis tool that we like to use, and that's just to gauge how the current spot players are positioned, right? And then we'll move on to the COT. That's to see how the leverage funds, how the asset managers, the leverage players are positioned in the market, and then we'll wrap it up with some price and volume analysis, where we'll use our BTH volume profile indicator to show you guys what the near support and resistance levels are. So with that being said, let's get started, guys. Okay, guys, so after we spoke about the SMI last week, as you can see right here, I posted this on April 22nd. We actually ended up seeing a nice, well, actually, not, I don't want to say nice, but an insane spike in our SMI. Again, that's how we gauge the spot sentiment using exchange data, and that huge spike in distribution, so in selling, led to this a very aggressive 9 to 10% drop at that moment in time for Bitcoin. As I said here, I thought it was a glitch. Then we double checked the data that was coming in, and then we confirmed that it wasn't, and we just had to trust it. And look at that, we were able to, if you were, in the BTH premium and you were in some positions, you were able to get out of the way and then not have to experience that, double-digit loss on Bitcoin. You can imagine how aggressive that was for some altcoins. Let's go back to the SMI here, and then let's take a look at how it's looking right now, how everyone's positioned. You can see right here that we had to fix the numbers in order for it to show the actual rest of the data, because that specific point of data was so large that it made everything out of sync. It was very hard to see the other points. So anyways, you guys can see right here, right? Remember, the idea is that we only want to be making decisions in this market either during a distribution, and that would be to de-risk or look to sell if you're into leverage trading or short-term trading. And then we want to be buyers only when it's strong accumulation. Yes, the market does go up and can go up during accumulation. Right here, you could see how there's a cluster of bars of accumulation that led to an a short-term rally, but that's all it'll be. I'm not looking for short-term rally. So if you guys are scalpers, maybe that's something that you might be interested in. But if I am a scalper, which I'm not for the crypto market, then why not just wait for the strong accumulation and then look at this, nice aggressive moves here. And then during that drop that we had, I think yesterday, look what happened, the drop. And then last night we had a nice couple of bars being printed here. Now I keep bringing this up, and it's really important for you guys to understand this is the short-term market sentiment, right? So the short-term players are the ones that made this move right here for the market to drop. And then they also had a say on what was going to happen to the market here. Now, when we take a look at the long-term players, it's a completely different story, right? Yes, the long-term players were bearish here, so the short-terms matched the long-term. That's why the move was, a larger move. It wasn't just a 2 to 3% drop. It was a pretty healthy drop for Bitcoin, right? 10% is nothing to laugh at for Bitcoin. And then you can see right here that during this rally up, while it was strong accumulation for the short term, it was only accumulation for the long term players. Obviously, they joined in on some of the fun, but it wasn't that, their buying wasn't that extreme. Then you can see right here, once we got to that peak right here, the long-term players actually started to sell really hard right there, and then that caused a distribution in the market. So when you look at the short-term players, they were neutral, right? While the long-term players were the ones that were involved in the selling here. That's why I was so aggressive. And these are the players that I am interested in following. Again, if you're a scalper or short-term or an intraday trader, you might be interested in the short-term one. I'm looking for larger moves, 20%, 30, 60, 100% types of moves and beyond. So I am still waiting here to see when the long-term sentiment is going to give me a strong accumulation bar. Once that happens, and then we see price confirm, which we'll talk about the price levels a little later on in this video, then that's when I'm interested in buying. But that's what I have to say for you guys right now. You can see this tool is so amazing. I still get great comments from people in the BTH premium chat, because they'll join because they like our work, and then they don't realize just how powerful the SMI really is until you start seeing it live, you start trusting it, and you start to understand, oh look, when it's distribution, if I'm hitting a resistance, I should probably get out of the way and not be caught on the wrong end of these type of moves, right? You can see right here it was always distribution. And then when we broke that weekly support, if you guys remember back a couple of weeks, we talked about it. We broke the weekly support here, and then that set the trend for this entire huge, drop in flush out in Bitcoin. So with that being said, again, right now I have no positions. I am just sitting in the sidelines, looking and waiting for my strong accumulation. Again, you could argue that I could be trying to short-term trade these right here, which there's nothing wrong with that. But at the moment, I just don't really have any need to get that aggressive in the market. At the minute that May opens, that will change my view, right? Because I'm working within a new monthly candle. Right now, at the end of the month, I'm not really too intrigued to be trying to get into any new positions, if you guys understand the way that we, think about our candles and our SMPDT. But enough of that. With that being said, let's move on to the COT, go over that very briefly, and then move on to the price. So let's get to it. Okay guys, so taking a look here at the COT data, that's the asset manager data for the past week. You can see that they actually increased their longs by 104, and they decreased their shorts by 237. Again, exactly what we want to see: strength to the upside and further reduction in the downside. We're back to 91.6% long. I could not be any happier about that. So again, while I'm not trying to get aggressive with the short-term SMI, you could argue that the COT data is telling you, don't be too scared to find some short-term plays here. But again, I want to be very careful right now, especially with May's coming up soon, and there might be some interest rate talk here. So I want to make sure I don't get caught out in the wrong side of that on a crazy spike, because again, the long-term sentiment just hasn't hit strong accumulation. It's not out of the question that maybe we see a move down here, and that's the move that gives us the long-term accumulation. The long-term players hit strong accumulation. So you can see right here how that impacted the data. Again, well below the average, so that's exactly what we want to see. And right here, we have now pulled away again, and we're still firmly above the 80%. I'll zoom out a little bit so you guys can see exactly how that works. Again, the longer you stay below the average right here, the nicer the trends will be. When you do spike right back to the average, that's when you get those little hiccups right here where it's an uptrend, right? And then you see it spikes back towards the average, and then you get that little short-term retracement. So that's not what you want to see right now, is exactly what you want to be seeing. Let's go ahead and move on. I mean, there's not much to say here about the COT. That's all I had. Again, it's looking great. This is exactly what we wanted to see to stay bullish, and we really want to make sure that these shorts stay below the average. That's the key here, guys. Tomorrow, Misha will talk to you guys about the ETH one. It's not as bullish as the Bitcoin COT, but it's definitely trending in the right direction than what it was 2 weeks ago. So stay tuned for that. Let's move on to the price action part of the video. Okay guys, so to wrap this up, again, we're just going to go over some of the lines that I had drawn out last week, and you can see I had this red box because that's the quarterly value area high and the previous month's value area high, and the idea is that that's where our nearest resistance was going to be right there. And you can see that swing high, swing low, and that would have been our premium right there, right into our 4-hour supply. So very perfect right there. I'll just draw the little box right there. So again, the supply is from the open to the equilibrium of the candle right there. I think actually the equilibrium is a little bit higher, and it does get, look at that. If you draw the equilibrium here using your fib, it gets the exact high right there. So once that got hit, that was that huge SMI print that came through, right? And then we had that drop right here. Now the idea was that once you had the drop, you were going to come down to the value area levels, right? And obviously the idea was this is the previous month's POC, and then we also had a different support level that was tested. And that's why I feel like somewhere around here, we're either going to, keep bouncing in an annoying consolidation around here, or we're going to try and test this quarterly value area low. But because we're so late in the month, again, there's only 3 more days, that I would rather just wait for this month to close, see how the new monthly value area looks, and then make decisions then. I do think we're going to hit some bullishness sometime soon. You can already see the COT reports telling us that they're back to, below average on shorts and everything's looking great. So now we're just waiting on price to catch up. And the way that I think about this, right, so you can see, again, these yellow lines are the monthly value area and the monthly POC, a very strong support right here. The POC was used here, and that's what led to this move higher. And now we use the value area. So let me get rid of the POC because it ended up ultimately hitting the value area low, right? So when you use the month of March, that was the lowest support level that we had. And now we're seeing this right here. Remember, this move right here that went up for 6%. That's a very decent move. That was the SMI being strong accumulation, right? So again, for someone who's short-term trading or intraday trading, that's a great, or a scalp. That's an amazing scalp. Look at this one right here, right? This one went up, and I'm not saying you would have caught, the entire thing. You're probably waiting for the candle to close here, and now you're getting 5%. So let's measure it from here, and now 2.5%, somewhere around there. You're also not. Maybe you can get the top here, but right now you haven't decided if you're going to stay in this trade or not. But the point is that when these spot exchange players are positioned a certain way, the market will react, and you guys can see that in hindsight now. It's very, very beautiful. So what I'm waiting for right now, right, is looking at these weekly value areas, right? Because the idea is that how we after hitting our high time frame support, which is the monthly support, the key is how are we going to react at our weekly value area. So you can see right here, we hit the monthly higher time frame, hit strong accumulation, and then we are now back above our weekly value area low. So as long as we stay above that, I would have to be bullish, and then we would be targeting the opposite side, right? So it would be about a 6% rally to the weekly value area high. And what does the weekly value area high come out to be? Well, it turns out it's also the premium right here, and it also turns out to be the supply zone right there. So I'm not going to draw out the supply. I will draw out the swings here, but again, it'll be very interesting how the SMI is looking when that gets hit, right? Will it be at distribution, or will we still have some sort of accumulation going on, which would tell us that there's a little bit more juice to get squeezed here in the market, okay? So that's what I have for now, guys. Again, I'm not taking any positions yet until May. I'm waiting for my S&P DT, so for the new monthly candle. Because if you look at this right here, the month opens here, uses the previous range as resistance. That's also the yearly open, by the way. Then we expand lower, we retrace it back into a different range, right? So if you can picture that, it's like a map, right? I'm modeling out a map. So we retrace into a different range, hit the supply, and now we break down again. We failed to make a lower low, and what this is doing is just creating the bottom side wick of the month, okay? And I used to talk about this all the time with you guys. So you see right here how that's creating the bottom side of the wick. I'm not interested in that. This candle is already going to close bearish. You see how this candle right here, right? It was already meant to close bearish in May. So why waste your time trying to buy this, 24% rally? I guess if you want to, sure, but you have to understand that's what you're buying. I'd rather wait and buy the June, right, to see if June can give me a bullish reversal. Well, it sort of did, and then look what happened. July definitely did, and then you had a nice up rally. So right here, if I'm buying right now, I'm only buying April's bottom side wick, and then when the month of May opens, it might come back down and then take me out of the market, hit some other support levels, and this is actually not looking very bullish, right? So if you didn't have the valley areas, you'd be thinking that we're going to go to hell right now, right? That we're probably going to come down, somewhere around the 20-something thousands or even maybe 30,000s and make a brand new low. So about a 14 to 25% drop, which again, a 14 to 25% drop is not out of the question. The COT can be bullish, but because the SMI never hit strong accumulation, you could have that. And then during that move is that we get our strong accumulation and then prices go up. So again, be very, very careful if you're long in the market right now. Make sure you follow these weekly value areas if you so choose to. That's what I'm doing. Obviously there's not financial advice. So because even if you go up right now and we use 41,000.1, 41 or 41.2 as resistance right here, we're not going to go any higher. Okay, so we'll keep monitoring that. And then again, in the BTC Premium, we're just focused on finding altcoins that are going to outperform these moves when we believe that Bitcoin is going to be bullish. So guys, if you found some value in this, feel free to give us a thumbs up. Tune in tomorrow for Misha's video on ETH, the altcoin market cap, the total market cap, and all that good stuff. And make sure you guys subscribe. If you want to join our Discord community, feel free to find us in the description below. Find the link for that. So with that being said, guys, I'll see you soon. Stay safe and peace.